Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who figure review. In today's Doctor Who figure review I'll be taking a look at the Destiny of the Dalek collector set. Yes, I thought I'd do a bit of a yesteryear figure review in sort of celebration of the upcoming Doctor Who B&M figure sets. And I thought I'd review Destiny of the Dalek set to time with the Romana 2 figure being released, which is based from her appearance in Destiny of the Daleks, and I guess the two Daleks link in with the History of the Dalek collector set. And I will be reviewing the Claws of Axos Brigadier, Joe Grant and Humanoid Axon figure to link in with the Mike Yates and Benton set, and then obviously I'll be reviewing the First Doctor and TARDIS as well, but to sort of time with the second 60s TARDIS to be released. So once the B&M sets have all been released and I review them all, then I will try and do at least one figure review a month. I definitely want to do the black and white First Doctor and Second Doctor set review and talk about those because they've got quite an interesting history to them. So the Destiny of the Dalek collector set was the last Davros 4-pack to be released, because at the start of 2011 we saw a sort of trend of Forbidden Planet exclusives basically comprising of a Doctor, a Davros figure and 2 Daleks. Because in January we saw the Resurrection of the Dalek set, and then I believe in March, because I think February was the Sontaran Experiment set, and then in March we saw the Genesis of the Dalek collector set with 2 Genesis Daleks and obviously Davros and a Genesis 4th Doctor. And then in April we saw the Revelation of the Dalek set, and then I believe in May the Destiny of the Dalek collector set was released. Also, the Destiny of the Dalek collector set had 2 releases. It had the standard release, and the second edition was a signed version because it had basically a little autograph from David Goodison, who played Davros. Because in 2011 we saw that sort of trend, because they had the City of Death signed by Julian Glover, and I believe the Face of Evil Leela was signed by Louise Jameson. That trend didn't really catch on, I didn't think. That's enough for me sort of blabbering on about the history of these sets. So the way this video is going to work is I'm going to talk about the packaging, because I'm weird and I still have the box for this set. Then I'll talk about the actual figures, and I'll do obviously comparison to existing figures, so I'll compare it to the Bomber Dalek, the Genesis Davros, and I guess we'll talk about the 4th Doctor, because yeah, there's one glaringly obvious problem with this Destiny 4th Doctor. So without further ado, let's look at the packaging for this set. So taking a look at the box for the Destiny of the Dalek collector's set. Now this is one of the last figure sets to have this style of packaging, because 2011 we saw the revamp with the diamond logo style packaging. So the background is basically the Gallifreyan texts, and obviously we've got pictures of the characters what feature within this set. So we've got the 4th Doctor Davros, Doctor Who the Destiny of the Dalek collector set with the 4th Doctor highlighted there with his dates 1974 to 1981, a picture of the 2 Daleks. What the set include: the side of the box and the back of the box, where we've got all the Doctors up until the 8th Doctor all highlighted with their dates. Then we have the Doctor Who with this nice sort of fiery cosmos background, and we have a bio on the 4th Doctor and a bio on Destiny of the Daleks, and telling you the date of the story. Again, images of the characters what feature within this set, and information on the Davros release panel. And the other side. So here we have the 4th Doctor as he appeared in Destiny of the Daleks, or is it? We'll talk about the scarf in a minute. So yeah, I believe that, you know, this is quite a common costume for the 4th Doctor in season 17. He wore this in The Horns of Nimon, Destiny of the Daleks, and I think Creature from the Pit from memory. Now this costume did have a few slight tweaks to it, in the sense that in sort of stories like The Nightmare of Eden and sort of Power of Kroll, and I think whatever stories, The Armageddon Factor, he had sort of checkered trousers, and obviously Power of Kroll he had sort of the green welly boots. But obviously in stories like The Horns of Nimon and Destiny of the Daleks, he had the standard sort of grey trousers what the 4th Doctor usually wore. So taking a look at the articulation for the 4th Doctor, the head can move side to side but is hindered by the scarf, because obviously this is the wrong scarf. The arms can do full 360 degree turn, 360 degree bicep swivel, bend at the elbow, 360 degree turn at the wrist. The waist can turn ever so slightly but is hindered by the coat. The legs do kick out and can move ever so slightly to the side, but again is hindered by the coat. Bend at the knee and 360 degree turn at the boots. So moving on to the detail for this figure. So if we take a look at the hair. Now the hair is done really well, because obviously this is a lot more of an older Tom Baker and 4th Doctor, you know, this is his penultimate season. The hair has been given a grey wash to really highlight that this is a lot more older you know, Tom Baker and Fourth Doctor, because obviously this is very close to Tom Baker leaving the show. It's quite interesting that they use exactly the same paint apps on the Genesis of the Daleks, Fourth Doctor. But yeah, the grey wash really does highlight sort of the curl detail on the hair, which is done really well and really gives that sort of great sense of depth of all the different sort of colours, and black and grey to give that sense of depth. It really does really highlight the sculpting, what character options have done. Now the head sculpt is exactly the same what we saw in the Wave 1 release back in 2008, with the solemn head. You know, we've even got the nice attention to detail of the different sort of brown colour of the Fourth Doctor's sideburns, which is really good attention to detail. We've got the nice lines on the face and the oddly painted purple lip. So let's talk of the costume. Now the costume, there is one elephant in the room, and that is the scarf. Now if you know your Fourth Doctor scarf, that you know that each season the scarf just got predominantly longer, and causing, you know, Tom Baker to wear the scarf a lot different. I think season 14 is when he starts to wear the scarf a little bit different, like in The Face of Evil. But by season 15, you know, in stories like The Invasion of Time, the scarf is basically just swamping him. And obviously this uses the Wave 1 Fourth Doctor figure scarf, which is completely inaccurate because it should have this scarf. What's really interesting is that the City of Death set was released back in October 2011. So a couple months later we got the actual accurate sort of scarf sculpt. So it's kind of surprising that, you know, character options just didn't use that, unless there was sort of an issue doing it. I don't know, or whether it wasn't ready in time. I'm not sure. I believe the head is removable. I have not tried it. The peg for the head is pretty small, so it might be a bit fiddly to put the head back on, because obviously this scarf is not made for this body at all, because obviously the scarf is sort of being pushed up against the shirt collars, hence why the head doesn't really move. So I've never attempted to remove the head to put the accurate scarf on. So I've never attempted to remove the head because of just how fiddly it seems to do, and obviously with the sort of plug being incredibly small, the head doesn't seem to really fit the body. And obviously the scarf putting that pressure on the head, I don't really want to remove it. But the scarf, you know, if you've got your Wave 1 Fourth Doctor, then you basically know what to expect. You've got the nice sort of texture detail of the wool with all the different fabric you can just make out there, which is done really well with a nice sort of texturing, which is done excellently, and with all the nice sort of colour schemes and also the tassel details. It's just done really well, and of course the scarf is painted on both sides, unlike the Pyramid of Mars Fourth Doctor figure. So if you move down to the shirt is done rather well. We've got really nice buttons sculpted there and the creasing detail. And what's really nice attention to detail is that you can see that the shirt sort of overlaps to give the illusion that it's all tucked in. And you can just about make out that the waistcoat is sculpted on there, but obviously character options haven't painted it, which it doesn't really bother me because, you know, the scarf covers it up, so it doesn't really bother me. And obviously character options have never really painted the waistcoat. It doesn't bother me, but it's a bit of a shame that character options go for all this effort and you just don't really get to see, you know, the full thing, which is a little bit of a shame. Now, the jacket is a repainted Pyramids of Mars jacket to look like how it appeared in season 16 and 17, which is done really well. Obviously, Toys R Us, when they were doing the Doctor and Dalek twin packs, there was a plan to do a revised Fourth Doctor for Destiny of the Daleks. It would have the sort of popped up coat lapel, so you could tuck the scarf behind it. It would have the accurate scarf, but it would use the Seeds of Doom coat, so it would have had that sort of tweed texture, which isn't accurate to the actual coat, I don't believe. But I would have loved to have seen that figure. I would have preferred that actually compared to the Genesis set, but never mind. So the coat, like I said, done really well. We've got the sort of black trim around the lapels, the buttons sculpted there, the fastenings done really well. Again, we've got the black sort of collar there going all the way around the jacket. We can just about make out from the scarf. Again, we've got the detailing there on the sleeve and the buttons sculpted there. On the back we have the nice sort of seams and all the creases to give it a lifelike effect, and the buttons, and again a black trim around the pockets. And again, like the Fourth Doctor, has that sort of illusion that the pockets are full, which is done really well. The legs, there's not much to say, they're just painted grey. Now the boots are done really well. As you can see, we've got the creasing detail on there to give it that lifelike effect. We've got the black trim of the sole of the boot itself. Again, really good attention to detail by character options. Now a lot of people say that these boots are the same what appeared in the season 18 4th Doctor figure, and they are technically different to the season 18 boots. If I can just get the season 18 4th Doctor, as you can see, the boots are completely different. So yeah, they are ever so slightly different to the season 18 boots. Accessory wise, the 4th Doctor of course comes with his trusty sonic screwdriver. It's basically the same paint apps what we've seen on all the other 4th Doctor sonic screwdrivers. So moving on to Davros, played by David Goodison. So I'm going to obviously do the articulation detail, and I will do a comparison to the Michael Wisher Davros figure as well, and I'll talk about Davros's little accessory as well. So let's take a look at the articulation first. So taking a look at the articulation for Davros, the head can move ever so slightly but is hindered obviously by the neck brace. The arm can move up but is hindered by the chair support. We have 360-degree turn at the bicep and 360 at the wrist. And of course Davros does move on his wheels as well. Moving on to the detail for Davros. Yes, I have to say that character options did an absolutely superb job sculpting the Michael Wisher Davros head, because this is very accurate to how Davros appeared in Destiny of the Daleks, because they basically used the Michael Wisher mask for Destiny of the Daleks, and that didn't fit David Goodison very well. So poor old David Goodison, because I quite like Destiny of the Daleks, a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. So yeah, character options did a superb job, and I feel like the paint apps on this really do reflect it, because this is a lot more of a darker brown, because the Michael Wisher Davros is sort of a greeny colour, and obviously they've give this Davros a black wash, what really does highlight the detail on the face. You know, really get to see all the wrinkles and the lines on Davros, which is just done superb. We've got the great detailing of the wires there with a sort of nice sectioning details. The sort of head brace is just sculpted really well, and all the sort of tubes and wires going to the back of there, it's just done really well. The microphone sculpted there, it's just done really well. Davros's little blue eye there, which is done really well. Again, like I said, I just absolutely love the paint apps for this. It's just superb. You can definitely tell that it is Davros. I love that. The torso is done really well. We've got the sort of nice stitching detail of where the costume would all zip together. Got the creasing detail, which I think is just done really well. Really does make it feel lifelike. It's just done really well. I absolutely love it. There's really not much to say about the actual torso piece itself, but it's just done really well. All the creasing, which is done really well. The hand follows the same sort of detailing as the, sort of the paint apps on the face. You've got sort of a black wash to really highlighting the detail of it, because all the Davroses use the same sort of hand sculpt on all the Davros figures, bar the Emperor one and obviously Julian Bleach. So if you move down to Davros's chair panel, we've got the great detailing of all the buttons and sort of levers, which is just done well. I really do like it. We've got the nice detailing of the sort of Davros little torture interrogator bit from Genesis. Because this is slightly tweaked from the Michael Wisher one, which I'll show you in a minute. We've got this nice sort of translucent section there, which has got this sort of grating detail you can just about see there. We've got great detailing of sort of the lights there. It's just a real the bolt on the back of Davros's chair with this nice sort of metallic silver finish, really good with a black trim along there. And I really like that. Really do like that sort of detail with all the levers. You know, they are really good. So you can have Davros posing down there, you know, flicking the levers, because they're made of a soft sort of rubber, so they are moved ever so slightly, which is good. Now, the main problem people have with this Davros figure is this, the chair colour. Because obviously in Destiny of the Daleks, Davros is basically still in Skaro after being sort of shot off by the Daleks, and the Daleks are trying to find him because he's still in the Skaro bunker. And Davros has been there for a long time, and he's full of cobwebs. So what character options have done, they've essentially painted the chair, or the chariot, grey, to give it a sort of aged and dusty look to it, which looks fine, but when you compare it to the other Davros figures, it does look a bit out of place. Obviously, it's the chariot should still be, you know, painted black, but I think they could have painted it a little bit of a sort of a lighter black, but instead of a sort of grey. But it's okay. It works. It works well enough for me. I think that it looks okay. It definitely does stand out on the shelf compared to the other Davroses. We've got the nice sort of silver hemisphere detailing there, which is done really well. And what I love about this Davros figure is the skirt. As you can see, they've sort of dry brushed silver onto the fender, which really does give it that sort of worn and battered look, and make it feel more aged, which is done really well. So I really do like that sort of attention to detail, what Underground Toys and Character Options did. And of course, on every Davros figure, bar the Emperor Davros figure in Julian Bleach, it does have this sort of section panel, which was only seen in Resurrection of the Daleks, where you see Davros with a mechanic sort of fixing his chair. But in this, because all the Davros figures essentially use the same sort of mould, we still have the same feature. So if you push this hemisphere like so, bang, you can see all the circuitry detail inside there, which is really good attention to detail. It's not accurate to the story at all, and that just pops on like so. So here we have the 1970s Davros collection, I guess. We've got the Genesis Davros and of course the Destiny of the Daleks. So you can really see the difference in the paint apps, especially on the sort of head. So taking a closer look, you can really see the difference on the actual paint apps on the face. You can see, I feel like the black wash really does highlight the sculpting detail, especially on the Destiny Davros, which really does show the care and attention to detail Character Options pay when sculpting these figures. So if we move down to the actual control panel of the actual chair itself, you can see all the different coloured sort of levers and buttons. You know, the main circuit section there is exactly the same, but the levers have been ever so slightly changed. And I'm not exactly sure if they're accurate, because I'm no expert on Davros's sort of chair, but obviously you can see the slight difference in panelling detail on the back there. And obviously you can really see the difference in the skirt colour there, with obviously this being black and this being a very faded grey colour, obviously. But yeah, that is the differences with the Davros figures. Now Davros does come with an accessory, and it is this, the Dalek battle computer. I think that's what it's called in the story, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that it is this, which is done really well. As you can see, it has got this sort of frosted effect on it, which is done really well. There's not really much you can say. It's got sort of 4 stands there, which you can just place on Davros's chair like so. It doesn't fix on, it just stands there, that's it. But in 2011, we saw the Dalek battle computer appear again in figure form, this time appearing with the Source Manipulator, because in the Keeper of Traken, the props team basically used the Dalek battle computer to be part of the Source Manipulator. So I just removed the Source Manipulator one. You can see that there's ever so slightly difference to them. As you can see, the Source Manipulator one here is a bit more frosted compared to the Dalek battle computer one, but yeah, really nice little inclusion to have there. And it would have been nice if the Dalek plungers were sort of magnetic in a way, so that would be really cool. So the Daleks could hold that would have been really cool, but they're not, and it just plots on like that with Davros. So moving on to the final 2 figures in this set, the 2 Dalek drone figures. So I'll do articulation detail, and I will do a comparison to the bomb Dalek as well. So if we start off with this Dalek first. Taking a look at the articulation for the Dalek, so the dome can do a full 360-degree turn. The eye stalk can go up and down. The plunger is on a ball joint, and so is the gun. And of course the Daleks are on wheels. So taking a look at the detail for Dalek number 1. So basically, if you've got a classic Dalek figure, you basically know what detail to expect with it. So we've got the frosted dome lights there, which is rather cool. These Daleks have sort of a more of a glossy finish to them, which I believe is a lot more accurate to them, which is always good to hear that they are slightly more accurate, because it basically uses the same sort of Genesis sculpt. Again, the eye sculpted there with a nice sort of paint detailing and sort of darker blue rings on the eye. We've got the sort of pupil sculpted there and painted, which is done really well. We've got the mesh detailing there on the neck pin section, pretty well detailed with a nice sort of sculpting detail, which is done rather well. On the sort of mesh section of the mid section, it's done really well. As you can see, you've got these sort of rivets and the nuts and bolts holding it together, but the mesh in between has been given a slight sort of silver wash, which I think really does highlight the detail of the actual mesh sort of detailing there, which is done really well. Hopefully you can see it on camera, but it really does highlight that sculpt instead of just being left a more of a grey colour. Again, we've got a nice sort of detailing there. On this Dalek, the gun does not move at all. It seems to be sort of glued. Again, not much to say on the sort of bottom half of the skirt piece, but this has a 2 base fender, which is rather cool. So yeah, not much to say on the Dalek because it's just your standard Dalek figures, what we've all grown to love. So if we move to the second Dalek figure, which is more akin to the Bomber Dalek, again, very much the same detailing. You've got a slight difference in the paint apps, as you can see. This has now been painted, sort of has the black slats and the black midsection painted, and obviously we have the sort of fender now just being the standard 2 base black fender. So yeah, really not much to say. But this Dalek, I will say that the paint sort of chips off the eye quite easily, which is a bit of a shame. But I guess it kind of matches these Daleks, because these Daleks are looking worse for wear. The Destiny Daleks are really tatty. I guess it kind of explains why they're a bit tatty, because, you know, they're fighting a war and they've been working in mines and they're trying to find Davros, so you're not really going to look your best. So they do look a bit tatty in Destiny. So here we have the Destiny of the Daleks Dalek lineup, with obviously the Bomber Dalek and then the 2 Daleks from the Destiny of the Dalek collector set. And if character options continue doing the history of the Daleks, I'm sure we'll add more Destiny Daleks to this lineup, and I'd like that because I'm quite fond of the Destiny Daleks as figures, because they do look really well. I do quite like them. So taking a look at the Bomber Dalek compared to the ones released in the set. The Bomber Dalek has more of a sort of a matte finish to it. It's more chalky, as you can see. It doesn't have that nice sort of gloss finish to it. As you can see, it does sort of stand out a bit more. And I guess that this Bomber Dalek is more akin to that Dalek, as you can see. It's sort of similar to that because it doesn't have the midsection painted there. But yeah, obviously it has the different sort of base, as you can see. It has the single base that has a double fender, and that has a, you know, two-tone fender there. And the dome review of the Destiny of the Daleks and the Destiny of the Daleks that have a sort of more ridged, I have to say, I've always had a bit of a soft spot whereas these are just sort of standard. I just absolutely love these 2 Daleks. I've just always had a bit of a soft spot, maybe because I really do enjoy Destiny of the Daleks. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure. But yeah, I really do love this set. I remember when it was first released that I really wanted this one because I just love these Daleks, the look of them, and the 4th Doctor variant looked really cool. You know, I really like that. But the set does have its problems, like I said, like the 4th Doctor being inaccurate with the scarf. But, you know, the scarf aside, you know, it is a really good figure. It's a nice little 4th Doctor to add to the 4th Doctor collection. The Davros, I think that it's a good figure. You know, I think, like, my point still stands, but the Michael Wisher head sculpt is one of the best head sculpts character options I've ever produced. It's just amazing, and I'm really looking forward to adding Romana to this lineup, because I think it will just complete this look of the set. I think that it will be absolutely wonderful. So I cannot wait to add Romana to my Destiny of the Dalek little collection. You know, if you can find this set for a reasonable price, then I definitely do recommend it, because, you know, you've got some really nice little Dalek variants. You know, the Davros is really cool, you know, despite the sort of weird sort of paint apps on the chair. But other than that, I think that it is a really nice little set. It is a really good set. I do really like this set. I just have a soft spot for it. I think that it's one of those sets what I just have a deep fondness for. Really. So yeah, that concludes this review. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next yesteryear figure review, what will either be the Claws of Axos set with the Brigadier Joe and the Humanoid Axon, or the 1st Doctor and TARDIS. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. So thank you very much, and goodbye.